Today's standing practice is going to start very briefly in mountain pose, just to get oriented and find your feet. And then you're going to start to introduce some hip and knee flexion. You can place your hands at your hip joints like I have to really feel where your torso is hinging forward at the hips. And you're paying attention to any sensation in your knees, weight distribution in your feet. You can see here from this angle that my spine is staying nice and straight and it's tipping forward simply because I'm hinging forward at the hips as my knees bend. This is just a very shallow, arm-free version of chair pose. So I'm going to grab a block here because you maybe have noticed that when you bend your knees, they knock in towards each other or want to splay away from each other. If that's the case, you can place something between your thighs. Just a gentle squeeze is holding it there. And you can revisit that exact same motion that we were doing before. Only now that block or folded blanket or book is going to be helping you keep your thighs neutral and your knees tracking forward. It may also give you a better sense of stability. And once you've found a comfortable shallow chair pose, you can bring your arms forward. I haven't brought my arms all the way up because I know that when I do too much shoulder flexion, I tend to borrow from my back. So I'm just keeping the arm movement a little smaller for myself so that I can maintain a nice neutral spine. You can slowly come out of that and remove the block. Now we're going to come into a forward fold, similar idea, hinging at the hips, but a really generous knee bend so that you can try to bring your abdomen and possibly your chest right down to your thighs, and you can let your head and your arms dangle. If this is too much for you, you can grab a chair. You can come into a similar position, but without having to dangle, you can have your forearms resting on the seat of a chair in front of you. I'm going to go ahead and return to my regular forward fold because that is comfortable for me. Inhale, halfway rise to a flat back. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, halfway rise. And deep bend to come up to standing. All right, you can walk it out. Wake up those legs. Now we're going to be coming back into a forward fold. Again, with the intention of bringing the abdomen, chest in contact with the thighs as best as possible. You could fill this space with a pillow or a folded blanket. And while keeping your heels grounded, belly in contact with your abdomen, you're going to begin to send your sits bones, your bum, towards the ceiling just a little bit by straightening your knees, ever so slightly. And you're probably already noticing that this can be a very strong, very quick to happen stretch in the back of the legs. So you do not need to take this very far, and you don't need to do too many repetitions. All right, we're going to come out of that nice and slow, lifting the head, bending the knees, coming up. All right, so go ahead and grab your chair. We're going to stand a little ways back from the seat, bend forward at the hips, and place the hands on the seat of the chair. I'm just going to play with a little bit of bending in the knee elbows to make sure I'm not locking out my elbows, a little bit of cat-cow spine to just find my nice middle ground neutral spine. And we're going to begin body rocking. So the spine is staying fairly neutral and quiet, and the movement is coming from the shoulders and the hip joints flexing and extending in tandem with each other. Let's step those feet back a little further so that as we come back, sending our weight back, it looks even more downward dog-like. And as you come forward, it looks a little more plank-like. But we're just flowing in and out of this really smoothly. You can follow your breath. You can inhale all the way into the plank, exhale all the way into the downward dog. You can try reversing those breaths, see what feels more comfortable for you. There's not really many hard, fast rules in breathing, so long as you are breathing. Exhale back into one more downward dog. And then you'll inhale yourself back into a standing tabletop position. Exhale the left heel straight out behind you. Inhale it back to the floor. Exhale the right heel straight out behind you. Inhale it back to the floor. We're going to do that a couple more times at your own breathing rate. Pay attention that your toes stay pointed towards the floor, hips squared to the seat in front of you. One more time on the right. Inhale that foot back to the floor. Bring a nice generous bend into both knees to come up to standing, and then you can move your chair to the side. So to finish off this little practice today, we're just going to come back to our forward fold here. And if you want, you can cross your arms, let your head just dangle and sway your body side to side. Trying to let as much muscular tension through your spine and your neck and your arms go as you can. And just paying attention to how this feels in your knees and your hips and your low back. If this is not settling well with you, you can just hang out in your regular forward fold or your regular forward fold with your forearms on the chair. And when you've had enough of that, you can bend your knees, come up to standing, and carry on with your day.